welcome back. Depending on where you are, it is the evening. So, good evening to you. It is a pleasure to be here as always. If you guys are new, thank you for coming. I appreciate the algorithm for bringing us together. Speaking of algorithms, I will allow the algorithm to do what it does, which is let you know that I am now live. But the second thing I need you to do, if you can see this, I need you to share this with someone that is looking to move abroad. If you are looking to move abroad, you have landed into the right place. But if you are somebody that also says, hey, I know a couple of people that have this on their radar, I need you to share the live because this conversation is conversations that is going to help you with your entire move abroad journey. So appreciate you guys for being here. If you have been paying attention, we are at the 12 days of relocation. And what the 12 days of relocation is a series of conversations that are designed to help you, the person that is looking to move abroad, and get the understanding, the research that everybody's telling you that you need to do, the thought process and the mindset shift that you need to go through, and the real life conversations and questions that you need to internally look into yourself and start asking. A lot of people don't have the time to take a deep breath, an understanding of where they are, who they are within right now, and what is all going on today. So many of you guys are looking at this relocation process and the thought of moving abroad as if it is your other moves that you may have had in your life. And these other moves may have taken you from a new city to a new state, a new coast, but none of those things, when moved around like pieces on a chessboard in the United States, they're not preparing you for what you are now looking to embark on. They listening. It is not preparing you for what you are looking to embark on. Moving abroad is not you just putting your stuff into a bag, picking a city, a state, a destination, a location in a neighborhood, and then just packing all of your stuff and moving to where your new place is. I need people to understand that we are seeing so many people look to move abroad and thinking that that is all you need to do. So over the last, we're on day 11. The last 11 days, 10 days, I have been talking to you guys about some of the things that you need to ask yourself. I can only give you certain information, and the information is relatively, once you get it put together, it's okay. Here's our lawyer, here's our visa process, here's how to navigate retirement, being a military vet, being a single person, being a family that's looking to move abroad. I've got the pieces for those. But a lot of people don't realize that that is application. Once we connect you to the resources and have the conversation about what you would like, those things are relatively easy to apply. But the thought process of what you need to do before you leave, right where you are, and also how do you get on the ground and keep the positive energy going? You guys are now being ability to see when you're not leaving or haven't left yet. People are not having a good time abroad. Not everybody, but there are some. Let's call them anonymous member. Okay, so there's an anonymous member in every travel group that's saying, hey, I moved abroad. And it's not how I panned out. And it's like, why did that happen? That may be one of the questions that you're asking yourself. Maybe the person is actually asking themselves, why did this happen? This move abroad that seemed like it was the perfect solve to all of the problems that I had going on in America. Why didn't it work out? So tonight's conversation is going to get into that because it is far beyond what you just pack in the bag, pick your destination, and then just leave. It starts with what you do before you leave, understanding who you are, what you're leaving, and where you are going and what you are looking for. But it's also something that happens when you get there. And we're going to get into that conversation tonight because the getting there part, the settling in part, when it comes to moving abroad, that is where you may find the most friction. Never mind the applicables when you say, hey, let's collect you with a vetted resource. Okay. But when it comes to who you are now in this new destination by yourself, the things that you do or do not do, That is where so many people end up realizing that maybe they bit off more than they can chew. Maybe the research that they did wasn't the right things to ask, or they didn't do enough research. So, this is once again another conversation to take that tool bag. That tool bag, if you have been available for the last 10 days on day 11, should no longer be empty. If you are starting here on day 11 and you are saying, hey, I found this channel and I'm looking to move abroad, good for you. Go back and watch the other 10 days. The reason why is because you need to put some things into your toolkit that many of these channels and platforms just aren't asking you. They're asking you because they're not thinking about you. These things that I can access you to, they're very generalized. I can hit a couple of buckets, but you aren't just a couple of bucket or a bucket. You may be a raindrop in a bucket of water. So when you think about your individualized situation, you're not worried about everyone else's success. You're worried about you succeeding. And how do you succeed? So get ready. And if you haven't already, please share this live with somebody that is looking to move abroad and needs to hear it. I need the information to get out because more and more people are putting this into their Google, into ChatGPT. ChatGPT told me, okay, you're putting that information in, but what is it giving you and how are you actually going to succeed with what it is that you're saying to do? So, if you guys do not know who I am, my name is RJ Mood. I am originally from Philadelphia. I have started this platform, Black Expat Life Abroad, our Mood Travel Abroad edition, to get you guys ready to leave the United States. Once again, it's not just packing your bags. It's an understanding that you finally have the ability to take America's weight off of you, but what does that feel like? Who are you without America's weight on you? You don't even know. How do you navigate something that you've never had the experience to do and you're a grown person? That is a lot of issue with a lot of people's move abroad process because they don't even know who they are. Excuse me, all up in the camera, but needed to plug in. They don't even know who they are. You guys don't even understand because America doesn't often give you the ability to say, hey, what do I like to do? No, I got to go to work 7 days a week, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week plus, depending on who you are and what your scenario is. But what if you didn't? What if that wasn't your scenario anymore, the things that you had to navigate? What if you be the person that you are before you clock in? Or the person that you are after you clock out that's not overworked, that's not overwhelmed, that's not tired. You don't even know. Or maybe you remember, it seems like a faded memory, but maybe you did have a time at one point. It's been a while, hasn't it? But a lot of people are looking and thinking with that burning fire in the house that is America, hey, I need to just jump out and I'll get it all figured out. But it doesn't work like that. You guys would be uh, surprised how many people did that exactly and didn't become the anonymous member. They just never said anything. They never put it in the chat. They never told anybody. They just quietly came home to the United States with tail tucked, wondering, well, why did they say that I was going to have a good time? Why did they say that I was going to meet people and eat great foods and all of this stuff? Well, the research. A lot of it comes down to that because most people with an intent of understanding the research will not end up going to the places that their little research or lack thereof actually brought them to. But they often end up there. I know it's no diss to the people there. It's just a real life understanding. For your first time moving abroad and you have never got America off you and you don't even know who you are and what that feels like, do you think it would be wise to go somewhere 20 hours from where you are normalized at? For your first time. Not saying that you can never make it there, but I'm saying for your first time. Since you go somewhere where it can be a little peaceful, where you're not navigating so much weight, I know it's a $300 villa waiting over there for you. I know food is $2.50. I get it. I do. But I'm talking about you, and I'm talking about your probability of success. And when you talk about these things in the preparation stage of where you are today, the person that has not moved abroad yet, the person that is running Google search into the ground with how can I get, where should I go? Is it safe? And not really asking the questions that aren't being put onto the internet, that aren't being navigated through, whether by you or by so many else. How do I get ready for something that I've never been able to prepare for, never been able to experience? I may not even be able to go to one of my elders and say, you went through this. What was it like? You may be the first one out, and it's very interesting to have that feeling for the first time as an adult. And it's like, well, I really can't ask anybody now. Here's the thing: you guys are in a position because if you're watching this, you can ask somebody. There's somebody in front of you. But so many of us that have been living abroad for a while, there was nobody to ask. Or the people that were there, they weren't looking to answer any questions. And so many people get real life questions answered and asked on here. And it's an understanding that, yes, you are at the most opportune time. However, Bob Vila, if you're in a DIY scenario and you just think you're going to do it on your own because that's how America taught you, I don't need anybody. I don't need anything. I don't need a hookup. I don't need any help. I will tell you, your name may be whatever it is today, but it will probably be in the future anonymous member. And that anonymous member will be telling you about the experience that they had and how it did not pan out. Or you never make it there and you just go back home and tuck your tail in silence. Or you become one of these people that have actually left and have actually left and stayed gone because they wanted to be gone after they realized that America is not who we grew up to think it was. It's even worse than Santa Claus. Santa Claus isn't even real. But imagine if Santa Claus wasn't even a big guy or had a beard. He took his beard off, he took his fat suit off, and it's like, okay, I'm willing to believe Santa Claus might not be real, but he don't have a beard and he is not husky. That's a little tough for me. People are not realizing that America has told you who they are, but not necessarily showed you who they are. People are around the world look at America and not the way that you look at America as an American, as a person that has really never left and traveled. So you have to understand that that is almost like a baby. Like I understand so many. I was like a baby getting exposed to the world for the first time. When it came to language, I could have been like a baby. I have to learn how to say hello, good morning, how are you? Where is the bathroom? I'm a baby, and so many of you guys don't realize it's okay to be a baby. It's okay to be at the beginning stages. It's just not okay to just say, I'm going to go and I don't have anything to reference. I don't have any people that can help guide me through this process. I'm just going to do it on my own. And that is what is happening. So I want you guys to get into this conversation tonight because we got to get into some expat truths, man. There is a honeymoon stage and there's the reality of it all. And that honeymoon stage is that stage right when you get on the other side of the TSA and you're in that new place. It's kind of like the vacation mode. You know, when you go on vacation, you go to Jamaica, you go to Mexico, you go wherever it is that you go. Even if it's an expat destination like Colombia, Panama, South Africa, it's your first time. You're like, man, yo, I feel so free. The food tastes good. The weather is perfect. The weather just is, it might be cool, but I've never seen a fall day look like this. Like, this is how you are going to feel. Is you're going to have this weight off of you because you're like, hey, I sold my stuff. I left. I moved. I went. And now I know, at least in my head, I'm not going back. I'm going to be here for a while. 90 days. I've never even stayed 2 weeks out of the United States. But I got a passport stamp that says I got 90 days. What can I see and what can I get into? And a lot of people just hit the ground running. I'm getting into the groups. There's so much going on because you didn't realize that if you did it right, there's an entire community of people that are already there doing things, going out, eating, getting together, having times with each other that have nothing to do with you. So if you did it right, and if that is your hat to be involved, which some way you do need to be involved, even if you are an introvert, you might be like, cool, I'm at everything. There's a party here, there's a rooftop bar here, there's a brunch going on. You're just ripping and running, ripping and running, ripping and running because you, for the first time in your life, feel free. Everybody that has done this gets that. But that's not why we're here tonight because that is the easy part. All of this stuff is the easy part, but the part that you may have not done your research on, which is why we are here, is what happens when that wears off? Yeah, it will wear off. You might say, I used to live in South Florida, number of different places in South Florida, but this particular place I'm thinking about was in Boca Raton. And I used to live on Indian River in A1A. And if anybody knows what that is, where that is the beach. So after a long day of work, I would get off of work, grab my little chair, grab a couple of beers, and just go sit out on the beach and just watch the sunset. That was just my piece. That was what I appreciated. And when I first got there, I was there almost every day. Even when I left for work, I had to look to the right and watch the sunrise. That was the beautiful, and I always made sure to watch the sunrise. But you know what happened? Eventually, I had been there for a while. And eventually, I wasn't looking at the sunrise every day. I wasn't going and dragging my chair down to the beach and sitting there and just enjoying that. I got used to it. I got used to it. And then I had to ask myself, do I still appreciate it? And then it made me realize I need to make certain that I'm appreciating this, because I may not live here for the rest of my life, and I didn't. However, when you get moved abroad, you're gonna first finally get that weight of America off you. It's gonna feel so relieving. It's gonna feel like freedom. You might hit the ground running. You might be in the group chats, go to all of the events, be the new person that everybody's like, man, he's everywhere. He's having a great time. It happens all of the time. But a lot of what happens is you hit that may not take 3 months, but let's call it the 3 month mark. You've left the United States. You have been there in your new destination, and it finally hit you. I'm not going home. I love it here. It's great. But is this sustainable in regards to, one, some of the things that you might have started doing, all of the partying? And people be like, man, when I first got here, I just partied and drank and turned up and had a great time. And I realized I can't live that life. That's why we're here. So maybe you don't have to go through that. What they say, Hove did that, so you don't have to go through that. This is real. You guys will go through this, but how do you navigate it? Do you go and then end up? I heard people about, I spent $25,000 in 3 months in Colombia. On what? What did you spend $25,000 on? Can you? Yes. But why did you? Why did you? Because that first time you ever get it, you're a grown ass person. You might not be my age. You might be older than me. You might be younger than me. I'm 38, so put it wherever it needs to sit. But if this is your first time leaving abroad, then you went all those big years without knowing what the world has to offer. So it's going to feel like relief. But this conversation is about, once the relief sets in, sometimes the fear can set in. Yes, the F word, fear. A lot of people realized that during those 3 months that they went there and tried to get America and everything off of them, and they were having a great time and just running around, exhausting themselves to the end of the candle wick. And then they look up and say, not only am I burnt out, I'm financially lower, but in reality, when I get into what I want to do, I don't know anybody. I don't even know realistically what there is to do. You got when you get older and you're like, yeah, if I want to go party and go out and meet women, I got a friend that still is into that. I can go hang out with him. But if you're not into that, or whatever the hat is that you may no longer be into once you finally settle in, what do you do? Who do you go out with if you no longer want to go out with your party and your drinking friends? What about your Tuesday friends? Let's go grab something to eat. Oh, I got to go pick up something tomorrow. You trying to roll? As simple and as old as that. I get so many different calls from people that have moved abroad. I get a lot of people that are like, hey, it's my first time. I've never gone. Can you help me? I see your stuff. I'm trying to get a better understanding how to navigate this. And I'm like, great, you're doing a good job, because if you haven't left, this is awesome. You're putting good stuff into your toolkit. But then there's people that say, hey, I'm here. I'm here right now. I am here. I've been here, and it's not working out the way I planned it. So those people are in this position, and the people that I don't want you to be. Saying, hey, I just wish I could hang out with somebody. I know people that have come to Colombia, stayed in their little bubble in their house. They may be introverted, which is okay. But I need you to break out of a shell just a little bit, because there's no way that you can have the experience that you are supposed to have if you are introverted, if you aren't willing to work with others, work well with others. Shout out, that makes me think of something. And this is definitely a community conversation. Shout out to Erica, Dr. Wilkins. She always keeps me honest with certain things because, as travelers, we see a lot of different people come. And this is why we have these conversations because oftentimes I'm like, if I could just touch you, maybe you wouldn't be in this chat acting a fool, doing things that aren't wise. And there are ways that you guys have to realize that may have worked in the United States from a general perspective, from a individual perspective, that just won't work where you're going. How do you know? You think that you can just expect to pack up your bag, pack up your set, and just put it into another destination, another culture, and say, here, it works everywhere. That's mighty American of you. What you guys need to understand, I tell you guys is, when you say you're looking to move abroad, you're saying, I want to be a part of a community that is already existing. You might not realize that, but that is what you are saying. And with that being synonymous, you need to understand that you might not be somebody that needs to move abroad right now because it takes you lowering your drawbridge and opening your heart and your head and your spirit to learn as an adult. Yes, not talking about going to school, I'm talking about genuine learning. You are going to need Spanish. Stop asking anybody if the local language is Spanish, if the local language is French. You need to learn the local language. If they speak English, that is a plus. It is not something that you should be going around and saying, well, why don't they speak English here? Because they were colonized by Spanish people. They weren't colonized by English people. Why would you think that this works the way that it is designed to you? And then you get into the rooms, and these rooms can be in communities of social media with others from, hey, these are Americans just like me. They came down to the same place. Or people from all over the world. I've met people from Germany, and these are black, white, Asian. I've met people from Belgium, New Zealand, Australia. And you looked out Australia, you are all the way over here. You have traveled a very long way. So you get into these rooms, and you are now meeting people all over the world, from all over the world. And you guys are navigating all of the same things, and you might feel a little bit of pressure about that. How do you navigate that? Do you see how it could be a little difficult when you're almost a baby duckling out of America for the first time, trying to utilize your Spanish, thinking that, oh, it's 2025, so I got a translator. That'll work. But how long can it work? How long can you turn your brain off to not learn basic things? I see so many people come down and paint themselves as something that they're not, paint this process as something that it is not, and then understanding that, oh, I can just come down there and I throw money in the strip club in the United States. I'll go throw money in the strip club in Colombia. I'll invite strangers to my house, and because I have kickbacks in the United States, I'll invite strangers to my house in Colombia. These are not high probability things. Now, do people do them? Yes. Do they have success? Sure. But when you guys go and put in, is it safe in my comments, and then you go in and put in where I live or where I tell you is great places for you to live, the negative stories often come from the reckless behavior. Yes, so you can't go replicating America in the United States. You need to have your drawbridge low enough because America doesn't give you a place that says, hey, people, your friends, your neighbors, the people are around you. They can be of service. We can be of service to each other and just being in community. America doesn't paint that picture for you. It doesn't give you the space to do that. No new friends. I got my family, and that's all I need. In America, that works. However, when moving abroad, especially because you can't bring all your friends and all your family with you, it may be a solo journey, or it might be your immediate family. I got my wife, my kids, and my dog. But my mother, my father, my brothers, my sisters, my cousins, all my friends, they're not coming on this trip. How do you recreate that? And not saying replace. I mean, like, replicate it in a way where you can still have some of the things that give you comfort once you finally do get settled in? How do you go about being open to meeting new people when so much of your life in America has been closed off? You have to sit in that I got America off of me. Now let me look at the space that I'm in and what that feels like. Now I tell you, you need to do this before you leave because you can only do it but so much when the weight is still on you. But when you start, you at least have a reference point of what you thought. Because right now, if you've never left and you sit here and say, okay, what do I feel about this anxiety or this feeling that is making me want to leave? Let me write it down and like really look at it and understand. And when you visualize it and you see it on that piece of paper, you're going to say, wow, I wrote a little bit more than I thought that I had in my head. And that's okay. That's a part of the process. But when you get there, you can go reference that. And once you've gotten settled and all the fun done wore off, and not saying the fun is going to wear off, but more so it's like, okay, that first time off under the weight feeling. Who am I? Let me look at that thing that I wrote down when I was in the United States and what I was looking for and what I was looking to leave. And is this accurate? Let me adjust it. Because now I'm realizing that, hey, I thought moving abroad was gonna allow me to be able to expand my Rolex collection, and it's like I don't even want a Rolex anymore. I could take that extra money and buy two new Rolexes a month, or two new Rolexes a year. Now your value has shifted. Now you like, I just want to be able to like once a week. I don't know, play pickleball. I want to go play pickleball, or I can go afford to go horse riding now. Once a month, I'm going to go horse riding. I'm going to put that into my wellness journey and my what does the after effect feel like of me leaving America? These things are now important to me. I was having that conversation in the group chat. And everybody got a group chat, and I got a bunch of group chats. But my boys, they're in Philly and South Carolina, and I was like, my value is different, bro. They know me. I done had a drop top Benz, I had another Benz. I used to get a $500 at least ASOS order every week. Shoe that I wanted, stuff, things. When I went to go write down what it was that I was looking to leave, it wasn't that, to be honest with you. It wasn't like I want to leave all of my stuff and things. It wasn't on my radar at all. At all. I definitely wanted to eat better. I didn't want to feel like I had to work so hard just to have what I had. Like I just didn't want to feel like I got to put all these hours in just to have this number because this number allows for this, this, and this. I didn't realize that my core values were going to shift in, my targets. Where I'm gonna spend my money on my time at. How does my time translate to money and which ways I spend that? Do I need 40 pairs of shoes? Do I want to do I find satisfaction when I get something new? And is that where something I can rest on as far as, yes, this made me feel good in the moment, it did. But what I realized I was looking for was no more longer stolen moments, flash in the pans. I wasn't looking for that. Once I got on broad and I realized, and I remember when it hit me. I don't know how it's going to hit you, but I remember when it hit me. I was walking from my house to a restaurant and I stopped. I literally just stopped on the street and I said, is this what they feel like? And somebody might in this room might say, what is he talking about? I'm saying, they. That carefree feeling that you have when, you're not one bill out of the blue away? When you are in a scenario where, that feeling when all the bills are paid and you got extra money and you're like, man, everything's good. Now we know something always pops up. But that feeling right there. Imagine it, but you've been having it and you realize you've been having it for like the last 3 months. And when it hits you, you're going to be like, my life is different. I don't even carry the anxiety of a number of different things that were burdening me. You think about things or when you're awake. How many of you think about some of this stuff when you sleep? And that's 24/7. What do you do with those things? And when that comes off you, and when you get a good night's rest for the first time without America's weight on you, that is when you are going to figure out who the hell you are in this world. Unfortunately, and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but if you would grow up in the United States and you never leave, you have a very unlikely chance of really figuring out who you are. It's just unlikely. They put you into a box of you need to be this kind of person in order to succeed here. By the time most of the people that do get to those plateaus of what we are all killing ourselves for, they're like, it was worth half of the battle. I got it all. And they're realizing that in the same position as the people that are struggling to get to where it is that they're getting. So I tell you, you're looking to change your life. But when it hits you, who do you become? I see people that don't have money in the United States, don't have a lot of money to, spend for extras. Come and then don't throw money in the club. Don't treat people differently because they're poor also. So they're very humble in life. And I've seen them come abroad and now gain access to a spending power and an attitude that they didn't have in America. Yes, the American privilege. The taint of what it is that you do with power that you never had, but you never knew you had, but you had it all your entire life. That is where so many of you guys end up having a hard problem. You have a hard problem with the locals. You're not open to meeting new people. So you have a hard problem with the expat community that happens to be there. You're navigating things and saying, why don't anybody want to hang out with me? Especially the people that have been there for a while. They're like, yeah, we see this a lot. The unprepared traveler. The person that thinks that America has just came and went on the other side of the TSA and is just waiting for them to take all of their newfound American privilege and bring it to the local people. Yes, this happens. Yes, it can be you. This conversation is designed so hopefully you start looking into yourself. And this is not a look into myself today and then close that door. No, 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 no. If you're 38 years old and you never left the United States, you can go 38 years and still be in a position to learn. Still be in a position to see something new. Perspective of yourself, perspective of the world. This understanding is not an overnight scenario. So I tell people, me giving you the tools and the resources from visas, housing, that stuff is easy. That's the easy part. It's not easy for you to find better resources. I'm not saying that. I'm saying for me, that is the easiest part. But our lasting impact is not a service that we sell you. It is an impact on the people and the number of people that we can help be successful abroad. Because getting you here, that's just one challenge. Getting you acclimated to life here is the other challenge. And lastly, after you get acclimated to life, how do you become a part of what you are now acclimated to? Yes, you could speak Spanish. Yes, you could know what the customs are and everything else. But you could also be somebody that nobody wants to be around in a whole neighborhood or a whole community. And that will have implications on you because it will definitely feel lonely. So it's a three-part process and it's an ongoing thing. These conversations are designed to meet the person at the couch. If you are in the United States and you haven't left, cool. What you do now is very important. What you do when you first get there, it's also important. But what you do is you continuously go on. The intention that you do, to getting your feet even more ingrained into the sand of the earth that you are going to, it is important. Therein lies your transformation. Therein lies the legacy that so many Americans talk about leaving. There can lie your truth of who it is that you are. But it is these steps. It is a thought process. It's the intention. It's the motivation. It's the understanding that you may not know it all, but you can successfully navigate this. You do not have to be the anonymous member. You could actually be one of the success stories that I see. One of the success stories I feel like I would say I'm a success story for certain. You don't have to go and start a platform to help other people, but you'd be surprised what kind of things that will turn to your heart when you no longer have the weight of the United States on you. It might not take all 3 months. It might not take all 90 days. But once you get to this but you're going to understand the value in all of the words that I said and why I told you to start right where you are. Excuse me, why I told you to get ready for when you land and what that feeling is like and the first time that weight is off you. And it's been longer than what you consider a vacation, 5 days, 4 nights. That's what you usually get on a vacation, 5 days, 4 nights. That's all you get. When you start to get to day 10 and day 15 and day 25, and it's a whole month has passed, and it's like, I live out of the United States now. I know what my doorman's name is. You're still going to be ripping and running. I get it. But once that dust settles, that's where the lasting impact of all of the services, all of the resources, all of the conversations over the hours and things of that nature that you guys have been tuning into, that is where you're going to say, I now know what he was talking about. Now, this helped me on this level and this helped me on this level, but he kept talking about that other side. I don't know and I don't see it, but I don't know who's talking to you about how do you get good on ground. They just say, hey, I'll sell you a visa process. No, we'll do a consultation. Yes, we do all of that stuff, but you get so much of that and more here. These conversations aren't for me. All of this is what I wish somebody would have told me. Yo, you might be walking down the street in your new life and be like, wait a minute. You telling me I was 35 when I moved. You telling me that for 35 years, I didn't know who I was? At 35 and under, you couldn't tell me that I didn't know who I was. Yet, in the last 3 years, I found out exactly who I am. Now, I might have had some understandings and dibble-dabbled in some of the things that were meant for me. But you'd be surprised what, space clears in your life, what clarity will rise for you. I always knew I was walking towards a destination. I didn't know what that destination was, but I knew I was walking towards something, and I was walking purposefully. I was doing things that not only felt right, but seemed right in the bigger picture. And all of the ways the things came together, all of the ways that they like gelled so easily. There was no friction. It was really organic. Things that I would have never dreamed. They wasn't even on my radar to write down. They came to me as if God had wrote it himself. That is the kind of transformation. Now, my transformation is for me. Your transformation is for you. But the opportunity, if you sit here and watch me, that wasn't who I was. I help people all my life when in service industry. I've helped people in these regards. I do travel. I've been in telecom. I help business owners. I've always been in a helpful spirit. But considering how impactful moving your entire life, your entire family, giving up everything you know, and having somebody care enough to actually get you ready for the emotional side of it and take the legwork out of where do I even find these resources in any of these communities, that wasn't on my hat. Now, you walk your own journey, but just think about that. I share my experience with you because the transparency allows you to let it know it can be done. The transparency allows you to say, hey, you may be in the exact same scenario I am. Hey, I got a good job, and hey, money is cool. I'm not really worried about that, but I was missing something. And I didn't know, even with my purposeful and intentful walks and what it was that I was doing before I left. But it became crystal clear that there was going to be a moment in the United States that was bigger than just any one community. Black community, white community, Asian community, anyone. It was going to be something that was going to be touching Americans in a way that we hadn't been touched all at the same time and since the pandemic. But now this could be a situation of, can I afford to stay? Is it safe for me to stay? Can I even eat the food and have a quality life that I'm looking for? And so many people are running into the situation of the answer may be no. So my job is definitely to get you prepared. Is to take that question mark that you have around moving, question mark about relocating. Is it safe? Let's focus on what you need to focus on. We can always have the conversations that you guys run into the comments with, but let's focus on some other things that you might have forgot running out of the burning house that is the United States, that you might not have had time to put on your plate because your move in your head is just Where's my expat destination? Finding an Airbnb, packing my stuff, and making certain that I have money to go move my life. Can that work? Sure. Sure. If I took a basketball right now and stood on my balcony and threw it as hard as I could in the direction of the local park where the basketball court is, could the basketball go in? Sure. Is the probability high? No. And that's why I need you guys to come make sure you are listening to these conversations. Make certain that this relocation is about increasing your probability of success. Asking you, and I don't want the answer, asking you to ask yourself the hard questions about, am I ready to be this kind of person? Am I open to be this kind of person? If I need to change who I have been in America, am I willing to adapt? If the answer is no, you have drastically lowered your probability. And you just answering and lying to yourself, the proof is going to come out. You're going to have to swim. You're going to have to get in the water and swim around. And these things will flush out. Anonymous member in the group travel groups. It will flush out. I don't want you to be one of those people. I want you to be one of the better people that come, move abroad, take it for serious, and then realize that he was right. My life is different. Everything that I had as far as these are my goals, they're the whole board. I've got a new target. I now know how I can be of assistance and service to my community in a way where it fulfills me. You'd be surprised how many people that have moved abroad that had $100,000 job is like, bro, why would I kill myself for $100,000 and I don't even need $100,000 to live in this place that I live at now? One. Two, the things that I was looking to buy with that $100,000, I no longer care to even have in my life. I have met so many people that are like that. I'm not saying that you don't need money, because you do need money to get around, move, travel, all that fun stuff. You do need some sort of income or finances. Like, America has sold us that $100,000 was going to be the end all be all, and we are now seeing that in America not even be the end all be all by any means. Never mind some obtainable number for some people, and it's just like, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to wrap your head. America lied. I'm sorry. If you are now here, I remember I told my cousin something I thought he already knew. And I said, yeah, yeah. And he was like, I was like, oh, you didn't know. You didn't know. I'm sorry. I would have rolled it out a little bit easier if you didn't know. But yes, America has told y'all some tall tales, not tattletales, some tall tales. Sold y'all a bunch of wolf tickets. You're not having a great time. That's why you've been here for 44 minutes. You're not having a great time because every day it feels like the water keeps getting closer to your nose. Every day you go to sleep and don't even get a good night's rest because the entire night is tossing, turning, with the inevitable of Groundhog Day. Every day is a Monday. I understand the feeling. So many of you guys are in it. But you could also have that feeling when you get overseas, maybe not financial, but loneliness, feeling disconnected, not motivated. All of these things can creep right back up on you if you aren't taking heed to what these conversations are designed to. You are looking for success, not a flash in the pan. So it's up to you to be an adult with yourself. Look into the mirror. Look and ask yourself, who are you? Write these things down. I hate to sound like a broken record, but I need you guys to wrap your head around it because you're so overwhelmed. You're so overworked. You live in a technological age where you're like, well, I'll just put it in my notes. No. Do not. If you care about yourself, listen to the exact words that I'm saying. Go get a piece of paper and a pen. Write it down. What am I looking for? Like I said, go get an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. Draw a line right down the middle of that piece of paper. You're going to have a left side and a right side. That left side is designed to get it all out your head. Yes, take it back to the old school, diary, journal days. Get it all out. What am I looking for? Excuse me, what am I leaving? What am I ready? Why am I looking to leave? I'm tired of this and I'm tired of this and I wish I had this and I don't like this feeling like this. Get it out. of your head and look at it. Be honest with yourself and then look at it. Because that right side, we're going to fill it up with what you need. You need to be serious and ask yourself, what do you need? I need the ability to send my kids out and not feel like it's going to be the last day. I need the ability to feel like, I'm not just one paycheck away from feeling like everything is that's it. I'm looking for somewhere where I can love my partner regardless of same-sex marriage or whatever the case is. I'm looking for that without scrutiny and not feeling like that's going to be taken away at any time. Whatever it is that you are looking for, you guys know the words manifestation. You need to be serious in manifesting what you are leaving to be out of your life just as much as what you want to be present in your life. Yes, it's two sides. There's two sides to that coin. Because this starts off as almost like a document that you can use. We grew up in a day where we used to use MapQuest to print out directions, and you would drag them on directions everywhere you go. Because if you miss one page, that might be 13 turns. You had your roadmap with you. You made sure that you didn't lose one of your pieces of your roadmap because you knew how important it was to your journey. Y'all don't realize that this is the same process. That you're gonna need to go to old school method and go get some paper and go get a piece of paper and get a pen and be very specific about what the hell I'm trying to get out of my life and what you're looking for. Because when you get out of the United States, I want you to open that back up. First week you unpack all your bags. I want you to open that back up, and you need to open that back up and say, hey, I finally got here. This is the kind of intention that I need to move around with. I don't want this to show back up in my life. So who am I going to be and how am I going to navigate it and make certain that doesn't show up in my life? This is what I'm looking for. How am I going to devise a plan to be intentful about getting what it is that I expect out of my life now that I'm no longer with the weight on? And then go enjoy your little 3 months rum springer or whatever. Or you don't have to and be smart about it. But after that settle in feeling, I'm going to need you to come back. I need you to come back to that paper. I need you to come back to those directions. Those are the directions that you wrote when you were trying to find the road out of the United States. You sat there and looked at those directions when you were sitting there and you finally got unpacked and you did it and you made it. And you sat there and looked at them with intention and saying, I'm not going back to that being in my life and I'm opening space for these things to come into my life. Yet you finally get that ability to breathe in the sense of, I've been here. How do you feel now about what you wrote down? Do you want to add some stuff? Do you want to put some more intentful things there? You can come back to that thing at any time you want. Remember who you were. Remember who you told yourself you were going to become. And remember, if you didn't get to there, what and where you fell short and selling yourself short. These things are intentful. This is not for a 60-second TikTok. This is real talk. I'm not no therapist. Don't need to be. I'm not looking to be. I'm looking to be somebody that's, like I said, I can be your brother, I can be your cousin, I can just be somebody that gives a crap enough about you and your success to have a conversation with you that nobody had with me. My family wasn't equipped to have this conversation with me because they hadn't gone to these places with the intent that I was going to. No, travel versus living abroad intentfully, picking a destination, showing up, creating community, learning the language, understanding and navigating pace, culture, lifestyle. I had to figure out all that myself. You don't have to. You don't have to, one, figure out the first journey. Two, figure out the I got to get here and don't even know where to start now that I am here. And then three, hey, there's going to be some emotional things that I'm going to be in my house or walking down the street and it's going to slap me up the side of my head and say, I almost spent my entire life in America not knowing who I was. It's a very humbling feeling once it hits you. But at least you know that you have the opportunity to change that. You have the opportunity to be who you are. Be who you really are at your core without the weight of America on you. And it should surprise you in some of the best ways. So I appreciate you guys coming for day 11. 11, my favorite number. I appreciate you guys for coming. I hope that this conversation was a little bit more realer, a little bit more understanding of this journey that you are looking to come on. This conversation and all of the conversations in the 12 days of relocation all lead up to two things. One, we start at 12 and we get you everything you need to know from a resource perspective, and we cover multiple locations. So those locations are Colombia, obviously, Medellin. I will be speaking on Medellin, touch base a little bit on Cartagena, as well as we have experts coming from speaking on Santa Marta, Colombia, Cali, Colombia, Panama City, Panama, Cape Town, South Africa, as well as Playa del Carmen, Mexico. But that is not where it stops. What we also bring on is immigration visas and law, as well as taxes. I got that question recently about navigating taxes. Our immigration specialist will be able to help you understand what documents you're going to need to get any visa coming out of the United States outside of your tourist visa. Going to get you an understanding of four letters that can save you $130,000 a year. You're going to get into what that is when you move abroad. He's also going to be able to navigate what visa types may be essential for you, considering Colombia and also other places will have multiple different visa types for you to consider. And one thing that is important, no matter if you're old, have a pre-existing condition, or you just say, hey, if I get sick, what happens? How do I get myself better? We're going to have our healthcare expert, and he's going to help navigate you guys through one of the major topics that is going on in the United States. What does healthcare look like abroad? You would be surprised at the rate that it costs you to get a doctor in your house when you have been treated terribly by the United States healthcare system. Seeing people's faces light up when they find out that it costs you $40 in some places to get a doctor to come to your house and sit with you for 40 minutes to an hour, getting a plan to help get you better and navigate where you are today. We do not get that after spending so much money and so much of our time. So healthcare and medical tourism, because some people are just looking to pop in, get some things done as well. We're going to cover that. We are also going to cover volunteerism. I tell you, I got y'all from a full 360 perspective. So we tell you about being a part of a community. The local people are here before anybody that is not a part of the local community comes. It is our job saying, hey, we want to move abroad. We're saying we want to be a part of a community. So we talk about the importance of volunteerism abroad when it is you do find your destination and you do get settled. We also bring on our financial expert because so many people are in a scenario of either I'm looking to move abroad so I can extend my retirement pension money. I can only look to move abroad because what they're giving me in Social Security and pension doesn't go far in the United States. I've got military veterans that are going to be looking into this conversation, but we're bringing on our financial expert. She's going to be helping you guys navigate why your ability to build wealth abroad is something that you should have on your radar. She's also going to talk to the parents. The parents that are looking to move abroad. You might have heard of the 529 plan, but there are other plans without having to pigeonhole your kid that will allow growth over their getting older, as well as have flexibility, whether to be used on college or something else. But where do you start with new ability that you don't have right now? That's why we put this together. We will also have Dr. Erica Wilkins will be coming on. She's talking to you guys about coaching for expats, navigating loneliness, culture, language, pace of life. All of this is going to be completely different. How do you become a part of a community? You've been so closed off in the United States. It's time to open back up and see who you really are. But how do you start? Erica will be navigating people that are looking to move abroad and how she is able to help you once you do get on the other side of the TSA. We're going to also hit that one thing that you guys are also in my inbox about. How do I make money online? Starting an online business, affiliate marketing, digital marketing, what else? Digital products, even becoming a travel agent. There's so many different ways to start in untraditional jobs that so many more people are leaving corporate America and saying, I'm out of the United States and I'm out of corporate America. I'll become my own entrepreneur. What that looks like for you is something that you definitely need to be in the room to understand. And then one of the biggest things is parenting with children. What does that look like abroad? Is it okay to move abroad with their kids? Is it safe? What is schooling like? Well, we bring on a person that not only moved abroad with her children, but she actually came on one of our relocation tours. And 90 days later, she successfully moved her kids to Medellin. She's going to talk to you about what that process looked like from where she was in your exact position, what she was thinking about, what she really decided, hey, I should have asked myself this or at least put this on my radar. How it is that she got connected to all of the resources her and her family needed, and what you need to do and the questions you need to ask in navigating what life abroad looks like for your family, as well as schools, healthcare. This is the one-stop shop for you. All you need to do is determine whether or not, one, you are looking to be successful. This is the highest probability thing that you can do on a Saturday. Two, you need to determine which medium you're going on. You're going to go on your phone, you're going to go on your tablet, you're going to go on computer. Whether or not you pick one of those, you do need to go to moodtravelabroad.com. MOOD, travelabroad.com. That is where you are going to see all of your resources. You're going to go get your early bird tickets. You're going to pick from GA or VIP, depending on what other additional discounts that you're going to want in your relocation process. That includes visa services, consultations, it includes discounts on relocation tours. So you can come down to whatever location that you're in, turn some knobs, see what an apartment looks like, visit some schools, tap in with the local community. These are all things you need to do. And we just do what we can to lead you right from where you are on your couch into a way where it's very easy for you to see the increasing value that putting it this way for you does, and gives you the resources to kind of digest it all. So I want to make certain November 22nd, you guys are there. You guys can still get the best price from now through November 14th, which is tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow is payday, and that's what you've been waiting for, because we will get that through at the end of the day. Prices will go back up on Saturday to regular admission. So it is an increase of $25 per person, per ticket, I believe. But please go there. This opportunity that you have to move abroad, I don't know who you'll become. You don't know who you'll become. But I guarantee you, if you do it the right way, you'll become exactly who God had you designed to be. And you'll see you had to make that move. You had to change some things in your life, and change them for the better. You did. I hope this conversation ahead of the 12th and final day of the 12 days of relocation, 12 days relocation, has been impactful to you. I always appreciate anybody that takes the time to watch our platform, takes the time to jump into messages, to comments, let us know we're doing a good job. Let us know you want to hear some more of some things. My goal and my duty within all of this is to impact more lives with the little bit of time that I have here. I appreciate you guys as always. Once again, moodtravelabroad.com. That is where you're going to go if you're serious about moving abroad and get your virtual relocation tickets. From there, you will see us, my entire panel of experts, all in one place, designed to give you everything that you need to make the move abroad and to make it successful. I don't want to see no more anonymous members, because if you heard this, then you have done your job in increasing your probability of success. My name is RJ Mood. I have been blessed to be in front of you guys. Jump in my comments, jump in my DMs. Let me know where you are. I need to know what it is that you need real help with in this entire process. My goal is to connect you with the resources and have the conversations that other people won't have. I appreciate you as always. Mañana is Friday. I'll see y'all then. Peace.